Hello friends, welcome back to Hype for Games. My name is Joseph and today on PlayStation News, a new state of play happening next week, Killzone may be making a return, another PSP classic leaks for PlayStation Plus, Jedi Fallen Survivor gets its first teaser and more. Let's get into them. A new state of play has been announced for June 2nd, focusing on exciting reveals from third-party partners and a sneak peek of PSVR 2 games in development. With that being the focus, it's obvious we are not gonna see anything related to God of War Ragnarok or other first-party games. But with Ragnarok being rated in South Korea, which almost confirms a 2022 launch, I bet we should hear something about it as late as July. A PlayStation event has been hinted at for the past couple of weeks by journalist Jeff Grubb, and there were rumors of two separate events, one in June and a showcase in September. Now, what could appear in this event? We're probably gonna have several indie games, more on that in a bit. Jeff mentioned in a tweet recently that this could be where Capcom shows a Street Fighter 6 as they plan for a summer reveal. Another third-party game that could appear is Final Fantasy 16 as producer Naoki Yoshida has teased a trailer and news coming in June. But none of that is completely certain, so get hyped responsibly. You are more than welcome to join the live reaction here on the channel for this state of play next week, so remember to subscribe and ring the bell to know when I go live. One of the indie games that could be at this state of play is the cat adventure game from Bluetooth Studio and Annapurna Interactive, Stray. The release date for the exclusive title may have leaked through the PlayStation database. According to PlayStation Game Size on Twitter, it will launch on July 19th, but it could also be a placeholder date. I think this is one we'll learn for sure at that state of play. Moving into VR titles that could be in that state of play, we talked in a previous video about PlayStation VR getting up to 20 plus titles for the device's launch, and it seems a classic PlayStation franchise may see a return. Sony seems to have been developing a Killzone game for VR with Supermassive, the guys from Until Dawn, but reportedly were not happy about the progress and moved it internally in 2019. It's looking like this Killzone title could be up for a return with the new peripheral. This is a rumor from YouTube channel PSVR Without Parole. They don't seem to leak a lot of stuff, but they were right on a PSVR 2 Developer Summit in August 2021, so there could be something to this rumor. And another game joining the PSVR 2 launch train may be, believe it or not, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The rebooted title is now on the PlayStation Store, and if you look into the health and legal information for the game, it brings up a VR safety notice, which only VR titles have. Adding to this is a report from Ralph Ball from What If Gaming, saying the game is indeed incorporating this feature, offering a standalone mode, so maybe we'll learn more about that at the state of play. Let's switch topics to the new PlayStation Plus, as Resistance Retribution is the latest classic leaked for the service. According to Gematsu, the PSP classic developed by Band Studio was recently rated for PS4 and PS5 in South Korea. The story for the game was set between the first two entries. It was a third-person shooter that used the face buttons to turn the camera since there was no second stick. The good thing was that you could connect the PSP to a TV and use a PS3 controller. It should be great to play on PS4 and PS5, and maybe this could bring back the first two games which were not listed on the PlayStation Plus streaming catalog. Sony has issued a patch for the new PS1 classic games, improving the PAL 50Hz output, or so they were hoping. According to an analysis from Digital Foundry, the patch tries to improve the issue by adding frame blending, a technique that aims to create a smooth transition between frames. Both games are now worse since that added ghosting into the overall image. It's worth noting that the 50Hz version were picked probably due to having several language options, but Nintendo for example avoids this issue by offering both 60 and 50Hz options of their classics. The analysis also points out weird stuff like PSP games having a scanline filter when the portable had an LCD display, frame inconsistencies, narrow aspect ratios in 1:1 modes, and other issues. Some of them are very distracting, some may not be that big of a deal, but overall seems the emulator required more time, and hopefully will be improved as they launch more games. We go back to Sony's investor report from this week. I already covered some details in the previous video, but there's more to talk about. In regard to PlayStation Plus, they say PS4 subscribers are satisfied with the service overall with a 72% satisfaction rate. Around 36% of users subscribe for online multiplayer, 30% for monthly games, 21% for discounts, and 30% for cloud storage. Speaking of PS4, it seems Sony plans to stop launching PS4 titles by 2025. For the next fiscal year, cross-gen titles take around a good 40%, but by 2025 they will be switching to PS5 only releases and increasing their PC and mobile outputs notably. In order to do that, Jim Ryan explained in a Q&A that PlayStation is still not done with studio acquisitions. With the Beyond the Console transition, they're aiming for the brand to reach a wider market, and they require expertise in areas where they haven't had a significant presence. For example, the Bungie acquisition to increase their live services capabilities. Ryan concluded by saying they will consider further inorganic growth with more mergers and acquisitions to increase their business portfolio. EA, Respawn, and Lucasfilm Games have revealed Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, during the Star Wars celebration. The game is directed again by God of War 3's Stig Asmussen. It follows the journey of Cal Kestis and his companion BD-1, picking up 5 years after the first game as he tries to stay one step ahead of the Empire while dealing with the fact of being one of the last remaining Jedi in the galaxy. Jedi Survivor builds on top of Fallen Order's legacy with better technology for more dynamic combat and cinematic storytelling, while you help Cal survive during dark times by learning new skills and growing his connection with the Force. It will launch in 2023 for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. CD Projekt confirmed The Witcher 4 has entered pre-production, with the development team having finished their research phase. The latest entry in the action RPG was announced in March this year, and they were moving from their own Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5 in a deal with Epic Games to help shape their development tools toward open-world games. CD Projekt is also developing a PS5 version for The Witcher 3 that should launch in Q4 this year, and Cyberpunk 2077 DLC. Now that we mentioned this Cyberpunk DLC, it seems details on the first expansion have leaked from files accidentally included in patch 1.5 from February. A data miner posted the files, but they are now removed due to a DMCA takedown. The expansion will take place in the Combat Zone, an area from Night City's Pacifica region inaccessible in the main campaign. Here you'll be able to enter the Sports Dome, and the story will focus on a character called Songbird that also leaked in the past. Cyberpunk 2077's first expansion will launch in 2023. PlayStation Store sales for this week include remasters and retro running for a few more days until June 1st, with games like Alan Wake, Resident Evil 3, Dishonored, and more. Deal of the week is Grid Legends with 55% off at $27. And the big one is Days of Play with up to 60% off in games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Need for Speed Heat, Ghostwire Tokyo, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, It Takes Two, WWE 2K22, and a lot more. It also includes DLC for games like Borderlands 3, Destiny 2, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Back 4 Blood, Far Cry 6, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and others. All PS5 controllers are also $10 off on PlayStation Direct and several retailers. Days of Play ends June 8th. And those are all our stories for today on this episode of PlayStation News. What are you hoping to see in the next State of Play? Do you care about Killzone making a return for VR? Which other PSP classics would you like to see on the new PlayStation Plus? And are you looking forward to Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Share your thoughts on any of these stories in the comments below, like or dislike to share your feedback, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, such as how God of War Ragnarok could really launch in 2022, or some bad news if you were hoping to play The Quarry online, and consider subscribing for more PlayStation content. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!